I'm Olivia. I am a wildlife and travel photographer. My goal is to inspire people to give a shit.
I'm Pat. Spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I have strong views on conservation and the U.S. Constitution.
We will discuss topics like yoga,
How to gut a deer and not fuck up your meat.
orgasmic meditation,
Full body orgasms.
life after divorce.
Life after death.
Why the fuck do we still use plastic bags?
Why can't everyone learn guitar in school?
What do you look for in the perfect photo?
What's in my food?
What's in my mouth?
We might also dabble in a little bit of motorcycles. That's right. She rides a Harley, bitches. While our upbringings drastically differed,
Our ability to communicate and be open-minded has allowed us to strengthen our relationship. So this podcast is here for you to broaden your horizons, possibly change your perspective on a topic. So we hope you enjoy listening to The Hunter and Hippie. Welcome to The Hunter and Hippie. My name is Olivia.
my name is Pat.
And we are just so grateful to continue filming and recording different subjects that we're passionate about. We have seen such an influx in listenership on all the different platforms.
Yeah, and we've been getting some comments. Keep the comments coming and questions, and we'll be able to answer them as they come.
There was one that I did receive via text, and I was like, I love you. Thank you so much. Now, can you do that on whatever platform you listened on? And who knows? I didn't see a notification, so I think they got scared. But we have seen just an influx in people coming to our channel, especially on YouTube. We are pushing that more than the other platforms. I don't know if I sent it to you, but I saw like an article saying like heads up for creators. Spotify has like changed some of their rules and you might want to like rethink putting your content on there. So if that does happen and we decide to make that official decision to only put our stuff on YouTube, we will let you know. This episode is kind of things that we have done through our journey as parents. Pat has many more years than I do, but I've learned a lot in my short 4 years of being a parent. And we're just going to share what we've learned and how we get out of our funks and how we help each other be better people.
Yeah, and disclaimer, we're not going to sit here and tell you how to be a parent. We're just going to give you some tips that we use or that we have observed that will make you a better person, better parent, more of like a guideline when you're feeling overwhelmed.
I want to emphasize what Pat just said. This is not how to parent. We know that you know how to do that. This is a way to feel motivated and like you're not alone, because parenting is hard. My mom always said when she was raising us, she's like, well, guess what? I'd never been a mom before. So we're all learning at this. You're learning life. I'm learning how to be a mom. And that's kind of the principles that I like to form my days around is we're all learning. We're always learning. We've never been this age before. We both are co-parenting. I like to remind myself that the time that I don't have my son is time for me to get work done and me to take care of myself and my mental health. So when I don't have Hendrix, I am focusing on more computer work, and I am also spending more time at the gym, in the sauna, getting a massage. At first, when I started doing the things that make me feel happy when my son wasn't in the house, I started to feel guilty because I'm like, well, I'm having a good time. It's not that I don't miss him, but I'm not thinking about him in this moment. And I felt like so much guilt over that. And then I thought of being in a plane when they say if the oxygen mask drops, make sure you put yours on first before helping others. And that was the analogy that's kind of stuck with me and helped me through that guilt of feeling selfish. I think if I'm not taking care of myself and my mental health, then how can I show up 100% or even close to 100% for my son as a mother? What do you think of that, babe?
Yeah, when you set an expectation that your entire life must revolve around the child, I mean, you're not wrong. Everything you do is reflected in your child's behavior and the way that they interact with other people. But at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not going to have the ability to take care of anybody else, just like you just said. Take an opportunity that you have to do something that you enjoy, even if your kid is around, because they're going to see you do that, and they're going to see the enjoyment that you're getting out of doing what you're doing, and they will mirror everything you do. And remember that. I used to have an expectation for myself of being a perfectionist. I still am, but a lot of that attributes to my childhood. My dad, the way he came across in his tone was that he expected it to be done and done right the first time so that you don't have to go back and do it again. The way I perceived that as a kid was I have to do everything perfect
Or dad's going to be mad.
or he'll be upset. Really, until we started dating, I kind of carried that my whole life.
Did you just then adopt that into your parenting?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
But it was my perception of what he was trying to say. He wasn't actually expecting me to be perfect. But don't expect your kid to be perfect, but just show them that they can accomplish a task. Once they start accomplishing tasks, then they'll want to take on the next task because they'll feel that sense of accomplishment versus feeling that they're not going to reach that perfection, the standard you're setting. So just be aware and be cognizant of your tone with them.
That's what you're working on, right?
Yeah. I have resting bitch face. I have a standard tone that whether I'm happy or sad or mad or whatever, it was all the same tone. That was, what the Marine Corps called bearing. Have bearing. Means,
so be a robot?
It means don't show emotion. Be very...
I can see that in your line of work now.
Flatlined. And yeah, in law enforcement, I got to be the same way, Even though I may want to react a certain way, I have to display...
Robot?
No. I have to display caution and make sure that I'm not putting my personal view in with what the law is.
Well, you're trying to be professional and remove emotion from, say, a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Seeing, a kid be neglected or something where you want to beat the crap out of the parent, but you can't and you won't.
Right. And there's a time and a place for everything. So in that moment, I have to be professional and I have to hold the bearing. And then, sure, when I get back to the office and I shut the door and no one in the public can see me, there's a lot of things said.
Yeah. So I want to circle back to the parenting part. So what you've noticed is you started to become kind of monotone, one emotion to the kids, and you're now no longer trying to do that. Is that?
Yeah. Changing your tone, being aware that whatever your tone is, if you had a problem at work, whatever your job is, and then you come home and you bring that work home with you, your kid's going to suffer the consequence because they're feeling that.
But as soon as you say that, I instantly think of when you come home from work and you might be in a shit mood and you say, I'm sorry, I just had like a really stressful last hour or whatever. And I've said that. I've been snippy with Hendrix. Like, what? And I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm just overstimulated. And he's kind of like, huh? But I think when you own it, because like you said, your perception of what your dad had said as a kid was, you must be perfect or I'm not going to be happy type of thing. In that, you're showing your child that you don't have to be perfect. And as long as you can own your mistakes, that is the true growth. So seeing mommy or daddy when they come in and they might be short and they don't look super happy, but if they say, I'm sorry, baby, like mommy's just not really in the best mood right now, let's shake it out, and you guys do it together, then you start to teach your child how to regulate themselves through your actions. That was one of my notes, was showing your kid how to regulate, because that was a big thing in my childhood. I didn't learn that. I was walking on eggshells a lot of the time because it was mainly Alexa and my mom and I, and my dad was always traveling. So my mom's overly stressed, taking care of a house and animals. And she would, do her explosions of whatever stress she was having. And I didn't see her ever repair that. So I never learned that you could throw something loudly in the sink and be like, I'm sorry, like I'm going to go outside and take some deep breaths. And you're then, like you said, that mirror, they're watching you. There's a sponge. They're watching everything that we do. I think the biggest thing is no one should ever strive for perfection, because it is unattainable. No one's perfect. Nature's not perfect. I think that's what makes it beautiful. So being able to own our imperfections and take responsibility for our actions, that is the best thing that we can do for our children.
Yeah. And, if your kid is like super excited to show you something and you're just like, oh yeah, whatever, then they're going to see that and they're going to feed off of that. Some of the artwork that's brought to me from the kids, it's like, oh, wow, that's not a frog. What was that drawing? It looked like a penis.
Oh God, I have it in my phone.
Mushroom or something.
I think it was a person. It looked like a penis.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh wow, like that's a really good drawing. And they were so proud of it and walked away smiling and laughing. And then, amongst adults, it's like, oh shit,
like there's
look
the
at
tip.
That. Look at that. Let's send this to people.
Yeah. And I did. I sent it to you guys in a group a few days later, like, don't forget to smile today. And it was just her drawing of her penis head.
Yeah. But in that moment, if I would have been like, no, that's not a person, her feelings would have been hurt. She probably would have stopped drawing.
That reminds me of our moving towards in relationships. Yeah. It's the same. A lot of the principles that I apply to parenting are the same ones that you apply to your relationship with your partner. If you don't have one, it's the same thing as communicating with a friend. If I think it's the Gottman Institute, a married couple, and they're both, I think, psychiatrists or something. Gottman Institute. And they are all about relationship building. And one of the things that they talk about is moving towards. And the example is, say, we're driving down the road and I look out the window and I'm like, babe, look at the sky. It's so beautiful. And you're driving and you're like, yeah. Like, I'm driving. That's you not moving towards me and towards what I'm pointing at. It's you moving away from me and basically just shrugging me off like you're annoying. So the biggest thing to help feel like a couple and a team is if I say, hey, babe, look at that sunset. You're like, oh, yeah, let's here. And one step further, let's pull over. Do you have your camera? Take a picture. You're building on my excitement. So like what you just mentioned with the drawings, her little dick drawing, it was funny as shit. I'm trying not to laugh as she's showing you. And I'm just like behind you, like, how are you going to hold this together?
Right.
When we shut our kids down, it teaches them that they're not important. And like what they're showing us is not important. How many times does Hendrix run out and go, mommy, wook? And then I go in there and he does like a somersault on his bed, like the 100th one I've seen in his whole life. And I'm like, wow, bud, look at that. Like, if I stop acknowledging and I stop moving towards him, he's going to shut down and he's going to no longer come to me for exciting news.
Right.
And as he gets older, he's going to learn mom doesn't care. And I don't ever want to be that parent. So like one thing that I like to do is I give my son at least like half hour of uninterrupted play when he gets home from daycare. And that means my phone is somewhere in the house. And I normally put it somewhere far away so I can't hear if somebody's calling. I can't hear it vibrate if somebody texts me. Like there's no interruptions. And our kids know when you're on your phone. They know. They've noticed that phone is more important than me. So I know that during that time when he says, hey, can we go play talk? I'm like, hell yeah, kid. Like, let's go play. He's never said it. He's only 4, but I feel like he does notice because he does comment on daddy being on his phone a lot for work. So like when I put my phone down, I bet you he's like, oh shit, like I'm getting her attention. And imagine like when I have somebody, I'm talking to somebody and their phone is in their hand and they're kind of looking at me, looking at their phone, looking at me. They're not listening. Oh, I'm listening. Yeah, no, I'm listening. No, you're not. I don't care if you can multitask. That is rude. So why would we do it to our kids?
Yeah, and the same goes with like TV. If you're watching sports on TV and your kid wants to do something, who cares about the game? You could see it later.
Watch the highlights on Instagram or some shit.
And just take a break, go do what they want to do for a minute. It's part of being a parent. You're sacrificing your time for your children's time. I didn't get to do that with my 2 oldest. I chose a different path instead of parenting and being a stay-at-home parent. And by stay-at-home, I mean...
in the country?
in the country. And I mean, like coming home every night, you know, I was addicted to deploying and I was addicted to my job. And I let my job identify who I was. And when I was home, I would bring that home. That was my constant demeanor and aura was Marine Corps this, Marine Corps that, yut. And
You weren't dad, you were just
yeah,
home type of
I
thing.
was the provider. I wasn't home.
Yeah.
So I try to take advantage of being home now. Sure, my job requires that I respond quickly to critical incidents and things like that, but I don't put myself in a position to where I identify as my job anymore. And ever since I set that aside, like, it doesn't matter what you do. Take time away from your work. Don't identify as whatever it is that you work as in your home. And
What should you identify as?
whatever you are, if you're a single parent, then you're a single parent. Handle the cards that you've been dealt. Don't try to make it what it isn't, and don't try and overachieve. Definitely don't sit on the couch and do nothing. If you sit on the couch and eat potato chips all day and become a fat turd, well, then that's what your kid's going to emulate. But if you put them through an activity and go outside with them and show them that activity, you know, my daughter didn't like soccer. She wasn't into it. And I took her outside and started kicking a ball with her. She thought it was fun. And then, you know, we set up the net and let the kids kick soccer balls into the net. And every time they score a goal, they think it's the funniest thing in the world. And they take turns playing goalie, and it's funny. Don't discourage it. You know, they're outside, they're doing something. You know, if you don't like tennis, so what? I don't know the first damn thing about tennis, but if my kid wanted to play tennis, I'd pick up a tennis racket and play with them.
Yeah.
You know,
So what? Wait, I'm confused. What was this chunk for?
Get your kid off their ass and don't sit on the couch and be a fat tub
This
of
is
shit.
this is not about don'ts. This is about
That's your.
No, this is a pep talk, not don't do this, don't do that. Focus on doing. Remember?
That's what I'm saying.
Don't touch that. Don't.
I'm saying your kid's emulating what you're doing. So if you come home and you come home, you don't pay attention to your kid, you sit on the couch, you eat a bag of chips and you watch TV, that's what your kid's going to emulate and become.
Yeah.
So
Be present.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a very taxing job and you need maybe 5-10 minutes, like say you get off work, you pick your kid up from school, and then you guys go home together, I don't think it's wrong to say, hey, let's have 5 minutes of, get your wiggles out, or whatever term you can use for the two of you to kind of get settled into home life. Because I think it's really hard to force yourself when you're not mentally ready to do whatever. I think it's very powerful to know in that moment, hey, I'm not ready for X. So it teaches them to then identify their emotions, their mindset. Hendrix does it. He got home last week. He's like, Mommy, I'm so tired from daycare. Can I sit on the couch and watch a show? And I'm like, I said, you did have a long day, like school, daycare, and I picked him up late. I said, you know what? Yes, you can. Because I was so proud of him identifying, Mommy, I'm just so tired. And I think that plays into constantly bringing up the how do you feel? Are you mad right now? Are you frustrated? Identifying emotions, I think, can be so powerful when they're little. Mm-hmm. And it'll also teach you to start paying attention to your own emotions. There are times where I'm a bitch. And you're like, baby, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, this is what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. Imagine if I was a 4-year-old like Hendrix and I already had a parent that was like, let's start working on how we're feeling and working on our emotions.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because we got back from camping and Haley kind of snapped a little bit when we got home. We all smelled like campfire. So we all cycled through the shower when we got home, but I was getting her shower ready and she was like, Dad, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm feeling.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, what's going on? And she's like, I don't know. And I said, well, good or bad or sad or happy or what? And she's like, I'm happy, but I don't know why I got mad.
Oh.
And I was like, well, it's okay. You said sorry. And then took a shower and felt fine.
Yeah. And sometimes you just need a shower.
Yeah. So
or to shake your ass.
Yeah. And we were cooped in a car for 5 hours round trip. And
yeah,
we were supposed to be out of the car in 2. So I get it. They were frustrated and wanted to get out of the car anyway. But
I'm glad we went for that little hike.
yeah, definitely.
Right? We
Yeah.
were all like on edge in the car, and I was like, I'm like, nope, we're going to pull over right here. I said, looks like a perfect trail. I don't
Yeah.
even know where it goes. We're all getting out. The dogs were being irritating. The kids were being nonstop. Hendrix nonstop talking the whole freaking drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about ready to have my head explode. It was just a comical experience. But I think it also taught the kids get outside. Did you notice how everyone was just like, I felt like the tension in the car going outside, everyone was a little more relaxed.
Yeah. We got out of the car and there was this little nature trail and one sign said trail loop. The other sign said trail overlook. And I'm like, well, let's do the overlook. So I start taking this overlook path and then suddenly it goes steep straight to the top of the mountain. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, hold my hand, watch your step. And was just guiding her up. And I said, are your legs okay? And she's like, yeah. And then I turned around and Hendrix is right there. And I'm like, what the heck? And there was maybe one little spot that was literally almost hands and knees for an adult.
Mm-hmm. Is that when I carried him?
Yeah. You carried him. And then I just showed Haley a route that was off of the trail.
Yeah.
That was a little easier than the straight up dirt path.
They were both so proud of themselves.
Yeah. And then they got up to the top. We took a picture. They were all happy.
Yep. And then we got like a quarter, not even like a tenth of the way down. And Hendrix goes, Mommy, my legs are so tired.
Yeah.
And his legs kind of did wobble. I was like, I'm going to carry you down this.
Yeah.
Like 4-year-old just cruising up to an overlook. I was like, damn.
Yeah. And like you said, taking that time out and giving them something to do, giving them an activity was more beneficial than
Throwing an iPad in their lap.
Yeah, throwing an iPad in their lap and continuing the drive. Take 5 minutes, pull over, do whatever. It took us, like 15 minutes total?
Not very long.
And they got enjoyment out of it. We all did. So give your kids that ability to have a sense of accomplishment, and that way they feel like they met a challenge and now they want the next challenge. Make it fun instead of making it something easily attainable and is kind of a shut up and go do this task.
I think they know when you're shooing them away,
yeah,
and when you're actually giving them maybe a chore. When I ask Haley for help, like, want to help me with the laundry? She's like, yes. And being a single parent doesn't mean that it's all on you. You can start getting help from your kids at an early age. Like Hendrix loves to vacuum the couch. Doesn't do a very good job, but he's getting better. If I took on all the help in the household, not only is it a burden on me, but you're taking away the ability for your kids to grow up and learn responsibility and take pride in the house. Because there are plenty of kids that I know, they're in their teen years and they don't do anything around the house. But then how do they ever learn the basic skills of being an adult if they're not introduced to it as a child? So it's not like you're punishing your kid.
Right.
It's just finding things that you can tell that they enjoy. Like Haley, you can tell she's a pretty clean, organized little girl. So I'm like, you're going to help me fold clothes. She loves it. But don't take it all on. Learn how to ask for help. And if you can show them how you ask for help, guess what they're going to do when they're older? They're going to know how to ask for help too and not take it all on. And just, yeah, I am learning still.
Did you burp?
Maybe.
Fuck.
Sorry.
The sausage from camping.
Sorry. I am a perfect example of that. My mother still to this day will not ask for help. You have seen it.
I don't know.
I think we've talked about it on the podcast, Sharon. I learned in my 20s how to start asking for help. And it was like little stuff and it was really uncomfortable. But when I was pregnant, I wasn't eating, but I was cleaning my house because I was taught like the house should always be clean. Like if somebody could come over, we don't want people to know we live here type of thing. And it took literally not eating and not feeding myself or my unborn child to really see what it was doing to my life. Like me not asking for help, I was not eating, I was not taking care of my body, which was then impacting my son. So focus on learning how to ask for help at a young age. I wish I could. I wish I could go back and be like, hey, Mom, can we work on this together when I'm 5 instead of 31 when it really hit?
But you don't have anything to worry about. That kid eats more than most adults.
Who, Hendrix?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll smash a whole ribeye and then go, can I have more?
Yeah, he's a little meat-eating
Can I have
fiend.
bacon?
He loves meat. I love it. I think the hardest thing is being a parent when you're not in a good mood.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have somebody like an adult in the house to catch that for you and say, hey, what's going on? Or let's get you out of this. So how are ways that you catch yourself when you're being a short dickhead to your kids? What are some things that you do to get yourself out of it?
Like us, or if I'm by myself?
You, yourself. And then we can talk about us.
Yeah, I mean, by myself, I would, I just got to find a way,
Oh, thanks.
So for me, I use my drive, the drive home, as a decompression time. I'll turn off the radio, not pay attention to my phone, and I will utilize, however long the distance is, 30 miles from work to when I pick up my daughter. That way I have complete silence and I can
Process all of it.
Let go of all the emotions that I have, so that when I walk through the door and I see her, she's excited as hell to see me, because she spent all day without me, probably just really hoping that the day would end so that she could see me. And if I'm grumpy or in a dick mood, then it's going to shut her emotions down. So what I do is use that time to decompress. And then when I pick her up, she's lit up with a big smile, and I throw the smile right back at her. And, hey, how was your day? I know exactly what she did all day. She sat in a classroom, and then she
Played.
went to after school care and played and hung out. And when I pick her up, I let her imagination and her story of her day, I show appreciation for it by being super involved in what she's saying.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of get myself back into the groove, if you will, is I use my drive as a decompression.
What if you're home and something happens and you don't have a drive? What then?
I use laughter. If I'm feeling angry,
like serial killer laughing, like ha ha ha.
No. If I'm feeling angry and pissed off, then I just laugh it off.
You're not answering the question.
What's your question?
If you're dysregulated,
okay,
what do you do to get yourself back into a mindset where you are on, and not as on as like a performance, where you are feeling in control of yourself and your emotions again?
Take a deep breath and adapt. That's really
Adapt to what?
The situation.
What do you mean?
Adaptability. I mean, if you are overwhelmed by your own emotions and you can't control your own emotions, it's going to reflect on your kid. So you have to find a way as a parent, whatever your means of finding that way, find a way to adapt to what they're wanting and put your own emotions aside. I suppress the shit out of whatever it is, and then I deal with it later.
Okay.
And
so
I
bottle it up and deal with it later.
I used to bottle it up, throw it in a glove box, and forget about it. Now I set it aside and deal with it later that day, same day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying bottle it up and forget about it. I'm saying bottle it up. Don't let your kids see that you're upset, and then deal with it when your kid's asleep and you're taking a shower.
I guess I see the opposite. I don't think we should hide stuff from our kids. Obviously, yeah, like if you're really pissed off.
I'm not going to say, Haley, I'm in a bad mood because I watched a dude shoot up meth in front of their family.
Yes.
Exactly. So
yeah.
I bottle it up, I set it aside, and I deal with it on my own later.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that my child can learn from or relate to, then yeah, I'll share it. But I also probably won't be dickish or pissed off. Because if it's something a child can relate to, it's childish.
What is defined as childish? What is childish?
If it's a tantrum, If they're
If
throwing
they're
a
having a
tantrum.
tantrum?
Yeah, if they're having a tantrum, I'm not going to let my day and my emotions go into their tantrum. It'll shift to what's going on. The same way when you throw a tantrum, I go, "What's up?"
I throw a tantrum?
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck you.
When you get upset, I'm like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And
But what happens like when Hendrix doesn't, like you've seen his tantrums,
yeah.
and I say, what's going on? And he keeps going. And I'm like, buddy, I'm going to leave you in here.
Yeah, that's when I don't explain anything else anymore. It's like dealing with a drunk person. You stop explaining yourself and just go by action. So instead of saying, "Hey, I'm going to leave you in here and let you cool off," leave them in there and let them cool off.
Yeah.
And then when they're cooled off, they'll come out. You don't have to explain every single step of what you're doing.
I think I have a hypersensitivity to feeling discredited and not validated. Like, oh, you shouldn't feel that way or you shouldn't do this. So I just thought my feelings don't matter. And if I don't perform in this way and I don't be a good girl, I don't get love type of thing.
Right.
So I guess I say that to Hendrix because I think if I just walk out because he's crying, he's going to learn that I'm rejecting him when he cries and shows emotion. So I tried to say, hey, what's going on? And if he's like, just like being a T-Rex, I'm like, okay, buddy, I'm here for you, but I'm going to go in the other room when you're ready to talk. Like you can come out type of thing because of my own problems that I had with that particular subject.
I guess what I'm saying is like, don't overextend your stay. Your kids have their own space as well. And if they're having a rough time and they're having a bad day and they're throwing a tantrum like a Tasmanian devil, then let them. And if you feel the need to explain it for whatever reason, then don't go into detail about it. Not like, hey, let's sit down and talk about why you're upset. Let them be upset. And then when they're finished being upset, why were you upset, bud? Or why were you upset, sweetie? It depends on the situation. So I guess what I'm getting at is don't try and be the ultra super wonder parent and just allow your kids some space. They need their own space too. Give them their space, let them throw their tantrum. And when their tantrum's over, don't get angry or upset that they had a tantrum. I mean, unless they're breaking shit, stop them from doing that. But, if they're just screaming in their pillow, okay, they'll stop in a second. By you giving them the space and allowing them the opportunity to let out their emotions, and then you address the emotions shortly after, there's no problem with that.
Totally. Because you're not shutting them down. You're not saying stop it.
Right. But how many times as an adult have you been in a situation where you're feeling overwhelmed by any emotion and then somebody is constantly, what's wrong? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. That feeling you get when somebody's like constantly poking at you, like, what's the matter? What's the matter? Tell me what's wrong. It's okay. What's wrong? We'll figure it out.
You're drowning.
I'm drowning.
Yeah. You're drowning. You're being smothered.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're feeling overwhelmed and somebody's overwhelming you on top of that, you don't have room to breathe. I just give them a little space. Haley might be in here playing and something happens between her and Hendrix and she'll storm off and go in her room for 2.5, 3 minutes. And then I'll walk in there like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I didn't like that he did this. I'm like, okay, did you tell him? No. Well, go tell him you didn't like that and he'll stop doing it. Oh, okay. And then totally fine.
Yes, I think space is definitely good. And it's something that I struggle with because I'm co-parenting. So I only get half of his time. So I think when I'm giving him space, it's like I'm ignoring him. Like I should be in there. I should be playing with him because I don't get to see him half of his life type of thing. And I have like this guilt. But then I realize as he's getting older, he needs that time. Yeah. He needs that alone time to use his imagination. He needs that time with Haley to understand dynamics of, an older girl being in the house and how to play together nicely. Yesterday, how long did they play together?
Like 3 hours.
Yeah. Haley got her birthday Barbie house and Hendrix, I bought him a Ken doll, even though I didn't really care, but I was like, you need a boy and your stormtrooper is murdering all the Barbies. So them playing together in that moment, there were a couple times where I felt like I should be in the house making sure they're okay. But I had already told them, hey guys, if you need anything, we're right in the driveway. So it's just like learning, like, especially I think not having your child all the time, it makes me, and I don't know about you guys listening, but it makes me feel like I need to spend every waking second with him.
Right. So immediately what I just started thinking of when you were talking about that is helicopter parents.
Mhm.
Right? There's
Yeah.
helicopter parents for physical everything, right? They're playing on a slide. Oh, I want to make sure they don't fall off the side of the slide that has a 4-foot fucking rail. Let the kids slide. If they get hurt, it's okay. If they get injured, they'll learn from it. And that's when you need to be there, is when they're injured or prevent the injury. There's also emotional helicopter parents that hover over their child the moment that they go, ow, they stub their toe. The role of the parent is not to be the one that hovers and controls. It's to guide, show that it's okay that you fell. Are you hurt? No. Are you injured? No. Then get up.
If you're smothering emotionally, physically, it is going to hinder your child in their own personal growth. I think another thing that I haven't really emphasized is, like, I did talk about making time for yourself and like going to the gym, doing what makes you feel like you, because you are still your own person. You're not just a parent. Like, yes, your mom or your dad, you were once an individual. Find that person again and help grow that person. And there are things that I do when I feel like I'm lost in the stress and the demands of life. And now we have a blended family and juggling of schedules and 2 kids and all of that. And all of a sudden, I just can feel like my shoulders up in my ears. I'm like, I'm going to go outside real quick. Hey, does anybody want to go help me? I like will weed. I'll pull, weeds, or I'll water plants, or we go to the raised garden beds and we look and see how the flowers are growing. And it's that little bit of time outside, even if it's shitty weather, you can put on a layer of clothing.
Right.
That time outside is so good for all of us to reset. But how many times when they're in here playing do we go sit out on the deck and we enjoy our coffee?
Mm-hmm.
So we're teaching them, and it makes me so happy, like when there's storms and Haley goes, do you want to sit out and watch the storm?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she looks forward to that. So like, kids, when you create a ritual that doesn't involve electronics, your kids, like, they eat it up. You're not punishing them, removing an iPad or a phone from their hand. Watch the energy of a room completely plummet as soon as you put an iPhone or an iPad in their hand. I watched it. Haley had hers, and I'm like, that's fine. She can watch it in her room, but they were sharing a room at the time. And I watched Hendrix just glue right next to her, and they're 5 inches from the screen. And I was like, no, you guys were both just playing happily, using your imagination. And then that iPad comes out and they were like zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is not going to happen. Yes, it's okay to use TV as a babysitter while you're prepping dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, you're not striving for perfection. You are surviving. You are managing life in a very technologically demanding world. But the key to a child having a childhood is they need adventure, they need imagination, they need playtime, they need to get dirty.
Yeah.
Alex and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. She is an artist, and she had her kids in her studio. They were in a set of clothes that had no paint on them. And she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, they're only this old for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pair of jeans that they might get paint on, but they're going to remember this time with their mother. So letting your hair down, getting messy yourself. I still remember I was 8 years old in California, and we had multiple days of rain, which is, not common in San Diego. And my mom, sister, and we were in I remember what I was wearing. I remember what my mom was wearing. And we went for a walk in the rain, like in the downpour throughout the neighborhood. And we jumped in all the puddles that we found. And we all were kicking it at each other and just having a really amazing time. My mom had a brand new pair of Uggs on. She ruined them. And I still remember that, though. I remember that moment where my mom was with us getting covered in road water. And we were just all having fun together. So don't forget to have fun. We play dinosaurs. We play hide and seek here. Like, I don't care if I look a fool because to a child, I'm probably like their superhero in that moment.
Yeah,
So,
you know how many times I ran in circles around this couch? Like to the point where I'm dizzy, but you know, Hendrix and Haley are still laughing and
Yep.
and having fun with it. So just keep doing it.
yeah. And so this episode is just to remind you that you are doing an amazing job. And we should all strive to be better than we were yesterday. We're not better than our neighbor. We're not better than our parents. We should only really be comparing ourselves to ourselves and only work on growth because the only person that you can control is yourself. And through your actions and through your practices, you can help shape an amazing child.
Yeah, and if you consistently strive to be the absolute best at everything you do and make no mistakes, then you're setting yourself up for failure. While you shape yourself and your children, don't forget to have fun. Don't set an expectation to where they're going to fail and it no longer becomes a fun activity because they're going to stop doing that activity. Set them up for success, give them a task within that success so they're learning. And then once they reach that level of accomplishment, whatever it is that was set, celebrate it. Give a high five, say yay, act like an idiot.
Okay, wait. I want to bring something up that I really like. If they have a goal that they attain and you reward them like, "Yeah, I'm so proud of you." They're doing it for exterior fulfillment and people pleasing. And if you can say like, they got an A on their test, how do you feel? And they're like, "Yeah, like I'm so happy. I'm so proud of myself." Then they're rewarding themselves. So they're not seeking exterior praise. They're looking for self-praise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we use that with Blake, when he was going through his schoolwork and, he was behind and he was slowly catching up and his grades started coming back and they were, much better than they used to be. And he's like, "Dad, I'm done with this class." I'm like, "How does that feel?" He's like, "Good. I should have just finished it,
Even at Hendrix's age, I ask him, "What was your favorite part of the day?" It's that whole like, you're looking for the good in things. Or as Hendrix gets older, I do want to try this and maybe we can start it with Haley. But like, what are two things that you like are really proud of? And what's one thing in your day that you learned from?
Yeah, I asked Haley yesterday, I said, "What was your favorite part about the weekend?" And she's like, "Camping." And I said, "Yeah, what was your favorite part about camping?" She's like, "The geese." And I was like, "Really?" Like, to me, it was like pretty uneventful, a flock of geese that flew over. I guess
She liked
because
it.
my whole life of waterfowl hunting, I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's geese." And she's like, "Oh my God, they're so big."
But weren't we also making noises like geese?
Yeah.
Or was I? Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
gonna
okay
totally
it's
peak.
okay to be totally stupid idiot in front of your kids because they'll find it funny.
And life, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Why do we take it so seriously, especially in front of children? Like, they are children. Why can't you be a child? You're just like a big child and you're cool to them until they're teenagers. And then you can embarrass them by doing the same shit, like what I do to Blake. I love embarrassing him. I hope that some of the things that we've shared, the struggles that we've experienced in our own parenting journeys, can inspire you to not only know that you're doing an amazing job, but also know that through little improvements, like going outside and taking deep breaths, that can really show your kids, even though they're not outside with you, they see you go out maybe stressed and you come back in and you're happy. They're like, like, what are you doing? Can I go out with you next time? Like, be the example. And I think it's really easy to be the example, either good or bad. Like, you have no choice, really.
I mean, depending on your day, and that's what I meant by adapt. It could be very easy or it could be very hard. But if you adapt, find a way to set your own shit aside and pay attention to your kids and let your kids express themselves, then you can deal with your stuff later. But
that's like the opposite of what I just said. But that's okay because we are the hunter and hippie, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm like, yeah, let's work through it together. And you're like, bottle it up and do it alone.
No, work through their shit. Not,
Yeah, but
not your shit. I'm not going to go to my 7-year-old and say, "Hey, Daddy had a bad day. You want to talk about it?"
I'm not talking about that. You're being very specific. If you are in law enforcement and you deal with people doing drugs and shooting themselves and killing other people and violence, yeah, don't bring that up with your kid. But for me, if I had a stressful day at work and I just want to go dance in the living room and shake it out, and he can join me or not, but mommy needs this because I need to get out of this funk,
Yeah.
then that is the example I'm talking about. Don't talk about, oh, this person just shot up meth next to their child and their child was taken away. Yeah, probably don't tell them that. But I also don't shield Hendrix. I don't say, hey, the doggy went to La La Land. I say Stella was old and she died.
Right.
I think it's like a finesse. But I don't think that shielding your child from reality is going to set them up for anything but failure, or at least a very jolted adulthood. They're going to be like, wait, mommy said that all the puppies went to La La Land and now I'm finding out they're all dead.
Yeah.
That's not fair. So this episode was to inspire you, motivate you, and also let you know that you're not alone. We all suck in our own ways, but it's all about bouncing back and owning our shit that allows us to learn from it, to grow, and also to show our kids that it's okay that you are not perfect, because no one is.
If today's episode helped you out, please hit like, subscribe. In the comment box, leave a comment. Rate it with the stars 1 through 5. Don't really care as long as it's a rating.
Don't really care. I care. I'm going to be like, why did we get a 1 star?
I'll be in a bad mood and I'm going to ignore my children because of your rating. Don't be a dick and give us 5 stars.
Wow.
Anyway, what I'm getting at is if you like what we're doing, please continue to follow. Send us an email. Let us know what you want us to talk about. And we appreciate your time. Namaste.